That was a cute moment. And now it's May. Oh god, it's May. Oh no. It's May, which means we know what happened already. We bid our emotional farewell to Nagakura, parting ways with him and the people of Utsunomiya. With that, Sanosuke and I packed our belongings and traveled down the mountainous path back to Edo. After a few hours of walking, I inhaled deeply, taking in the crisp mountain air, and Sanosuke suddenly turned to face me.
Chizuru, 体きつくねえか? ここらで少し休んだ方がいいか?
What do you mean by my body?
だから、ゆうべはほんまに寝てねえだろ.
His casual mention of the previous night sparked a vivid memory that I hadn't anticipated discussing. I sheepishly averted my eyes away from him. My cheeks felt as though they were on fire. It was hot from my face to the back of my ears, which made me even more nervous if Sanosuke were to notice. I kept my gaze firmly fixed on my feet. I'm fine. But are you okay, Sanosuke?
俺はまあお前に比べりゃ体力はあるからな.
That's not what I meant. I had to think carefully about how to phrase the concerns I had in my initial question. Although Sanosuke had assured me that he was truly content with leaving for Edo with me, Nagakura's memory would linger with him forever. And it couldn't have been easy to tell someone with whom you spent most of your life goodbye. It was a delicate situation. And I wanted to make sure that in discussing it, I hadn't upset Sanosuke by suggesting that I was questioning his sincerity.
じゃあもう少し歩くか. 休みたくなったらすぐ家よ、千鶴.
I will, thank you. Off we go. Continuing down the paved road, I watched the glow of sunset slip away into the distant horizon.
今夜はここで野宿するしかねえか.
Sanosuke plopped his things down and started preparing a spot upon the ground to build a bonfire.
悪いな. 夜までには宿に着けると思ったんだが、段取りが悪くてよ.
Oh, not at all. I apologize for walking so slowly.
先に休んでていいぜ. 俺が火の番をしててやるから.
Oh, I don't mind watching the fire.
いいから言うこと聞いとけって. 少しだけでも寝ておけば明日は楽になるからよ.
Sanosuke's voice was gruff, and he tossed some wood pieces sitting nearby into the open flame. It amazed me that even after hours of mundane walking, he could still be so considerate of me. His insistence almost made me feel guilty for refusing the first time. Alright, then I'll take you up on your offer. Oyasumi, Sanosuke. I rested my head against the root of a nearby tree, nestling atop the soft grass, and shut my eyes. All of the soreness in my body seemed to melt away, and I dozed off immediately into a pleasant slumber. In the comfort of my mind, I began to dream.
千鶴、大丈夫かい? お粥を作ったから食べなさい.
Father, I can't stop coughing.
おたふく風邪だから熱さえ下がれば心配はいらんよ.
Ah, that's right. Father cared for me dutifully, especially when I had grown ill from the mumps when I was younger. Even 5 or 6 years later, when I was first practicing my handwriting, Father took the time to invest himself in whatever it is I was doing.
千鶴、 今日は何を習ってきたんだね。
Some history about Edo and Chinese calligraphy. My teacher says that we don't need to study calligraphy though, that we should all start learning Dutch studies soon.
いや、蘭学も今や時代遅れらしい。イギリスやフランスの学問の方がずっと進んでいると聞くからね。
Really? Wow, times sure are changing.
千鶴、
Yes, what is it?
その気になる相手などはいないのか。
What do you mean by that?
だからほら、お前もそろそろそういうことを考えねばならない年頃だろ。
What do you mean by these sorts of things?
いや、だからその
This is something I didn't expect. Father has shifted uncomfortably, hoping discreetly to clear his throat. His silence told me all that I needed to know. He had suggested that if I were ever to fall in love with a man, he would want to know. Revisiting the memory of this time inside of my dream was peculiar and bittersweet all at once. I used to be carefree, unbound to anything or anyone. Father, as I had known him for my entire life, was nothing but gentle and loving. But now I was tasked with the responsibility of taking his life and ending his cruel, salacious plot. Father. The memory of his smile, warm and jovial, was fading slowly, replaced with the sinister grin I saw in Kofu. I reached my hand out, hoping to touch his familiar face before it vanished into the haze. Just then,
千鶴、千鶴、しっかりしろ。
my sleep was interrupted by the sensation of being violently shaken, and suddenly my eyes shut open. Sanosuke? My entire neck and back were dripping with cold sweat.
大丈夫か。ずいぶんうなされてたぜ。悪い夢でも見たのか。
Was I saying anything? Like, did I talk in my sleep? Sanosuke bit his lip, turning to face in another direction. His gaze was fixed on the orange flame, flickering lightly through the darkness beside us.
まあ、言ってた。父様って何度もな。
As soon as Sanosuke confirmed it, I was flung back into the dream from which I just awoke. Did I really stand any chance of stopping Father? His life was in my hands, and when the time came, I wasn't sure if I was ready to make that decision.
千鶴、お前平気か？覚悟はできてるのか？
Ready? Sanosuke's question touched precisely upon what worried me most. It was like he was a mind reader. I was sure that his question hadn't only referred to dealing with my father, but I had to ask myself if I had gotten in over my head, or if perhaps I misplaced my trust in Sanosuke by expecting him to accept this undertaking with me. At least, I hoped so. I told him that I'm still doubtful. To be honest, I still have my doubts. I decided to be candid about my feelings. As in, what choices I've made and everything we left behind to get into this position. I'm not sure there'll ever come a day where I don't pine about the way things used to be or for the company of the people we love. It's like you said last night, Sanosuke. Every decision has its consequences, and there's nothing we can do to stop worrying about them. I dwelled on the thought of what Sanosuke might have had to sacrifice to join me on this journey. It was likely that I could never repay a debt of his magnitude back to him, which was crushed. The yawn, which was crushing me. Our bonfire cackled in the background, filling the space of our awkward silence. But there's no turning back now, no matter how much I may want to. Time and time again, I've gone back and forth with myself, fighting the anxious thoughts in my mind whenever tough decisions needed to be made. Except for one decision, which was... I chose Sanosuke, of all people, as the one who would hold my fragile heart. After another moment of silence, Sanosuke spoke.
似たようなことを考えるもんだな。
Then he gently rested his hands upon my shoulders. I gasped, staring back at his alluring gaze, and my heart tightened in my chest. He tenderly grazed the side of my cheek, tracing a line underneath my chin before tilting my head upwards. I froze. Sanosuke's beautiful amber eyes were gazing at me, the light of the bonfire twinkling inside of them. They radiated with confidence and strength. Uncertainty glowed inside of them as well. All of his fears, his anxieties, his weaknesses.
千鶴、目閉じろ。
He whispered urgently, and I shut my eyes as he had instructed. My heartbeat sped up to the pace of a gallop. All I could feel was the warm tingle of Sanosuke's fingers against my pale face. I've been here before. I know what comes next. The space between our lips closing, the warmth. How could I ever forget? I suddenly felt his moist lips pressed against mine. Something about this kiss was different from our first, where Sanosuke's brazenness got the better of me. Brazenness got the better of me. Nor was it similar to the second time we had kissed, which was an intimate moment born from the ashes of our eager, desperate hearts. This kiss, however, felt like something new, a token of comfort during an emotionally trying time. It was gentle and hushed. Our lips were tenderly cupped together like sand, guarded in the palm of our hands, careful not to let any grains slip from under our delicate embrace. Neither of us seemed willing to part from the other, as if we were holding onto the one thing giving us life. Or at least so I felt. What other words could describe this feeling? Even as my heart seemed ready to burst from out of my chest, as my cheeks seemed determined to light ablaze, I felt a placid calm take hold of me. Things went broom outside. Sanosuke pulled back slightly for a brief moment, taking in a little breath with a calm smile. As our eyes met, he kissed me once more. This kiss was completely different. It was passionate, like he had put all of himself behind it. Sanosuke bit my lower lip, nibbling on it as he pushed his tongue further and further into my mouth. I instinctively grabbed his chest and pulled him in. I gave in to these natural feelings, listening to the bonfire crackle as our bodies wrapped around each other with vigor. Sanosuke's hands traveled my body like an atlas, landing upon my shoulders with a tight squeeze. After a moment, we pulled our faces apart.
現金なもんだな、我ながら。
Sanosuke's eyes beamed confidently as he spoke.
あれだけ悩んで揺らいでた気持ちが今は嘘みてえに落ち着いてる。それどころかいいよで切腹騒ぎを起こして、だけど死に損なって結局脱藩しちまったのも その後江戸で新八や近藤さんたちと出会ったのも、みんなで一旗あげようって今日に来て新選組を立ち上げたのも、全ては今この瞬間のためだったんじゃねえかって思えてきちまう。
Hearing Sanosuke speak so candidly about his true feelings made the hair stand over my entire body. I too couldn't help but feel fate brought us together. How I originally arrived in Kyoto in search of father. How I came to reside under the custody of the Shinsengumi. All of it had a purpose, which was introducing me to Sanosuke, so that the two of us could spend our lives together until the day we die. It felt like we had discovered a revelation, as if the universe conspired to bring us together in some sort of divine miracle.
何が起きても壊れねえ関係ってのに憧れてるって前に言ったかもしれねえが、どんな夫婦でも最初から強い絆で結ばれてるわけじゃねえんだろうな。何度も迷って立ち止まって、その度にこうやって互いの気持ちを確かめ合って、そうするうちに少しずつ本物の夫婦になっていくんじゃねえかな、きっと。
Just as we've done so many times in the past. Although there are times where our insecurities get the better of us, when everything seems pointless. No matter what, I could rely on Sanosuke and his support. Having him beside me makes me a stronger woman. Whatever trepidations I'd burned myself with in the past, he gave me the confidence to take them on. I was sure of it. Our hearts were becoming forged as one. The steel of our love was being tempered under the heat of our extraordinary journey in this troubling time, giving us the bond Sanosuke always wished for. Best of all, we created it together.